is a real estate company. They're based in Sydney, the headquarters in Sydney, and they're also nationwide now. When the CEO came to me, this is their original logo. I didn't design that, and he said, well, our name is Home 789 because 7 symbolizes for rise, 8 symbolizes for development, and 9 symbolizes for sustainability according to Chinese. He's Australian Chinese, so he always wanted to figure out a way to combine the Chinese characters into the brand. But it's very challenging because if you look at the original Chinese character with the English character of home, they look completely different. It's very hard to integrate them together. If you just look at these two characters, there's nothing really kind of in common. And so then I kind of trace it back to the origin of the Chinese character, because it's coming from the oracle all the way down to the modern character, because it's a pictorial language. What's really interesting is if you look at the second one, that's more pictorial representative, it's actually a little pig inside a roof. So basically, according to our ancestor, if you have a roof over on top of a pig, you have a home. So that notion gave me a lot of assurance, and also it gave me some inspiration of how can I actually make the 789 into the form of this animal, which is a pig in this case. So this is my first draft, which is combine the 789 interlocked into the character of pig, and then put it underneath the roof, which is the very first version. And I sent it to the CEO. He looked at it, he's like, oh, I like it. But I would love to have my advisor to give you some tips. And I said, is your advisor a designer? What is the background of your advisor? He's like, oh, my advisor is a feng shui master. And firstly, I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And I have no idea how the feng shui master is going to give me design feedbacks. But I kind of hushed my critical mind. I said, look, if he is a feng shui master and he has been in business for the last 30 years, he must have something really interesting and different to say. So why don't you keep an open mind and then see what the feng shui master will have to offer? And so I had a call with the feng shui master, and I think he was in China at the time. I was here in Sydney, and he said, look, I really like the design, but in feng shui, we like things that is organic and not too sharp. We don't like sharp corners. So I would suggest you to get rid of the sharp corners. And also, I would suggest you to link things that is separate from each other. So if you look at the number 8, and also the little 2 strokes on the side, maybe there's a way you can integrate it with the 8. And also, if you look at the red area, which is the sharp corners, is there any way you can find out a solution that you can make it more rounded and more organic? So I said, okay, well, I'll do my best. I'll see what I can do. So I did the second version, which is making the 8 into almost like a ribbon kind of thing. So it's integrating with the 2 strokes. But the challenge is the very top, which is the top radical. This is a radical in Chinese. This is the rooftop, right? And it has a very distinctive look. This is in Wikipedia. You can actually see. This is one of the radical. They're like Tetris, like tetraminos. So this radical looks exactly like that. You can't really change too much. This is according to my initial reaction. You can't really change too much because that's how it looks like. It's like alphabets. And then I kind of did research and realized that this name is called treasure hijab. And I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. Where is that treasure coming from? Because that's the name of the radical. So then I did research and I realized the treasure hijab treasure is coming from the yuanbao, which is the ancient currency that used within China throughout the ancient times. And it has a very organic look. And I thought, well, if the treasure hijab, that radical, is coming from or inspired by this Chinese currency, why don't we just kind of simplify that and then make it into the roof? So this is the new or the final solution of the Home 789, which is having the treasure hijab on the top. And this is the final character or emblem of the home, the Chinese character home. If you read Chinese, you probably will be able to recognize it. And this brand have been very consistently winning branding excellence awards in the last 3 years. So again, this is a very fun exercise, but also very useful exercise by doing a lot of research, trace it back to the history.